Hi, this is our Eddie O'Loughlin of Approzeal Recruitment on our business spotlight section again for our newsletter. So I'll pass it over to you, Eddie. You know, what maybe you tell our listeners what it is you do and for how long have you been doing it?
Okay, thanks very much for the opportunity. Yes, so my business is Approzeal Recruitment, and it's literally a business that has pivoted in the last year since actually the COVID onset. Really, the last 2 years, I suppose. Prior to this, Approzeal was primarily a recruitment, a consultancy business in the education sector.
Okay.
So my career to this point has been largely the last say 17, 18 years. It's been in the education sector. So I started a business college back in 2003, and then I morphed that into in 2009. I morphed that business college into an English language college, which we developed up in Dublin, and that became actually the second largest provider of full-time education in the city, or the state actually, sorry, by 2016. Then that business was acquired in 2017 by an investment company who also owned another similarly large size school in London. And so we sold to those, and I maintained my role then in the English as the director of that school in Dublin, and then we progressed on the year later. I took over the management of the London and Dublin schools for a further year and a half. So I suppose I'd had my I felt at that stage of being in that position and being and I thought I would branch out and explore maybe other avenues. So I'd been approached by several parties to see if I could assist with their endeavours to actually set up colleges in Ireland. So there'd be a lot of international players. We're looking at Ireland, especially since Brexit was it was looming since 2017, say in 2018. Colleges saw the opportunity to set up, or groups maybe would have seen the opportunity to set up in Dublin and in Cork. And so I've been assisting with a number of those entities over the years, coming up to COVID, when everything just literally, the door slammed and everything stopped. And it has literally, the business was decimated. Even the business I had, we'd established and founded, and as I say, we had grown it. It ceased trading in 2020, like a lot of the businesses in that sector. So, so we had a situation whereby the industry that I was involved with and that had given me a very good living had literally closed its doors for business. So I had to sort of maybe look at other opportunities. And one of the things I had done way back before I'd set up the language college, or sorry, the business college, was I had done some work in the area of recruitment. I had brought some staff over from companies that required them back in the years around the year 2001 and 2002. So I looked at that opportunity, and I got together with a couple of ex students actually from the college, the business college, who had now long since settled in Ireland and had careers, etc., and their families and their lives based in around Dublin. And we set up healthcare recruitment companies, bringing over nursing staff and healthcare assistants to the health sector in Ireland. And we literally only just really founded that business, and we've just signed agreements with a large nursing home group in Ireland to work with them to help fulfill their needs. So yes, that's a very exciting kind of pivot in the last couple of months, really, with that new business. So I suppose that's what led me to this point.
Fantastic. Well, really inspirational there that you were able to pivot the way you did. So who is your best customer? Would that be the latest one that comes in there? Or?
Orpea is a group. It's a French group of nursing homes. They have recently purchased 3 brands in Ireland: Brindley Healthcare and TLC and another group whose name escapes me, but they have now 26 nursing homes in Ireland. So
Wow.
we're putting candidates in there right now, actually, as it happens. But it's really that sector is one we're looking at intently, because they have such a need for people. As you know, there's a lot of constraints on finding particular categories of employee in Ireland at the moment. Healthcare is it's no exception, and there are tremendous challenges for a lot of the nursing home, the individual nursing homes and groups even to actually fulfill those needs. So it's an area we feel is we have particular inroads into a lot of different sort of sectors of the community, certainly even in Dublin where others wouldn't have. And from my days as dealing with thousands of students over the years, I would personally know groups, and if you like, I would have access to a lot of people that maybe others wouldn't have. So that background gives me a lot of play in the Dublin market, but also in the international sector. We can bring over people quite readily from Kerala in India, where we have also set up a separate office. So
I saw it on your website. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, across all industries, biggest challenge we have at the moment is getting engaged employees, I suppose, or staff or team members. You know? That's fantastic. So so you've already told us what the business changes you've had to consider during COVID, as you say, made it a necessity. All the actions you've taken because of the pandemic, what are some that will remain part of your business?
Yeah, I suppose that's a particular question. So, for example, okay, I would look at the changes I've made. I've had to do that a number of times, pivot my business from, say, for example, for change from business college to English language college. Again, they're the result of changes in circumstances that are extraneous. And there are quite monumental changes in a business. So that ability to be agile, that's something that again I'll have to keep maybe my focus on what's coming down the line. There's a new regulation that can be passed by a government minister, and that can change your whole outlook of how you operate and what you're supposed to be, how actually what you're allowed to actually do in your business, how you're like to conduct your business. So you have to be continuously monitoring all of that and being ready, and maybe future-proofing things as you set them up. And that's probably my main one there.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, it's definitely inspirational. And what would you say is your biggest learning? I may have already covered this, but what would you say is your biggest learning since you've been a business owner?
Well, it's definitely been it's setting up good teams, to get people to work with you in any project and to grow it and to be able to actually scale it. I mean, so we would have started off our first classrooms in our school entity when we started. We would have had eight students and one teacher, and we grew that to a throughput of 1,400 students every year from that base. And we did that primarily through social media marketing and primarily through utilizing the best people. The best people actually happened to be young, enthusiastic students that we had that also had these skills. So we had our pick. We were in a way blessed because we had a pick of some really talented people that we could bring into the business, and we could turn on basically and design a social marketing machine that can literally, from our base in Dublin, we had a reach of, we had over 90,000 Facebook followers, for example, on our Facebook page. With that brand, when we had just got it to the stage where we're selling it, and that was an active that was a tool that we could switch on, for example, promotion, and instantly see results. That was the power of that tool, and it gave us that reach to be able to keep that business as it was, as I say, one of the top two in the state, for size and scale. Yeah, so teams be
short. Okay, yeah, absolutely, couldn't agree more. And it's a big challenge these days as well, but it's interesting to see how you met it. What offers? Have you any offers to include in the newsletter
Yeah, if people are looking for certainly people in the healthcare sector, we would have a ready supply of, good healthcare assistants that will be on the ground right now, certainly in the Dublin area. And we would then have the ability to look for potential skills that would be specific to someone's needs. So, for example, if it's a social worker, if it's a nurse with a particular skill set or with a particular background, we would be able to source that person from a large branch of candidates in India. And the the processing time for the work permits has dramatically come down. So it used to be up to 6 months at one stage there. It's down to, I've heard of some of them being processed within a month. So anybody that's looking for particular skills in any particular area there, we can help you out with that. And what we'll be doing is we normally have our particular rate that we offer, but we would offer a 15% discount for any of the parties that might come through this medium, come to our door. So anybody wants to inquire and to maybe just mention your name and mention this interview, we would be happy to work with them on that basis. So
fantastic. That's 15, is it? 15%.
15%, yeah.
Fantastic. That's very generous. And I suppose just to finish off, Eddie, what is most inspiring to you today?
I suppose today, what would be most inspiring to me is the ability people have to bounce back from momentous sort of movements and changing sort of requirements, etc., and that the pandemic has brought on. So now we have people that are that have literally had to shut their lives down and shut their businesses down, and then try and resurrect them from nowhere. Now, not all have been successful in doing that, obviously, and that's been a tragedy. But the ability of people to actually try and pick themselves up again and dust themselves off, I think that's been, probably the most inspiring thing.
Fantastic. Very, very inspiring interview, Eddie. Great that you were able to come on. And listen, thanks very much again. And,
no problem. Thank you, Kevin. And we'll talk to you again.